Welcome to J.A.M Media, or J.A.M for short, where I have passionate conversations with the people that excite me. Tonight I'm joined by Tuff Stuff Ricky South. How are you
Pleasure,
doing?
Jamie. Thank you very much for having me. I'm feeling good. How'd you enjoy the show?
It's very fun.
Oh, good. Rock and roll.
Kind of pulling for you there in the rumble.
In and out. Quickly done. I don't mind.
In a previous interview with Matty Wahlberg, he mentioned you're only in your first year of wrestling.
Spot on.
Are you surprised by how quickly you've risen through the ranks?
Yes and no. Yes, because it is first year and it's very unfamiliar territory for someone to rise quickly. Like they have to be special or talented or something, or just an intangible factor that, like, I don't know, it's just weird. They gotta have something. So I'm not saying I do have anything, but the reason I say yes is that myself, Matty Wahlberg, and a couple other people train 6 days a week for the past 2 years straight, like putting in countless hours. I've changed my entire life to suit the wrestling. So hard work, you reap the rewards. So hopefully it only goes up from here.
And were you a long-time fan before getting into the training?
Yes, long-time fan, and for years I just contemplated just thinking, you've got to start wrestling now. You've got to start it now. And then every time I'm like, yeah, man. And then now I'm going to start it. Until, like, one day, he said to my brother, screw it, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And that was just it.
So there was nothing that sort of flipped that switch for you?
Maybe stop me being a bitch. Apologies for swearing. Maybe that was it, and maybe like go and chase something, do something you enjoy.
And following you on Twitter, I know you're sort of a big fan of Japanese wrestling.
Indeed.
Where did that passion come from?
Hard to honestly say, because my favorite wrestler is Shawn Michaels, without a doubt, number one. And then everyone else kind of fluctuates, and I don't really have a set to whatever, but number one set. But once you get an appreciation or a foundation watching wrestling, you naturally explore and expand your horizons. And then you find what caters to your tastes and preferences. And I find that the emotion that's more in Japanese wrestling, and the story and the way it's treated more as a sport and it's more ingrained in the culture, is what I tend to like more about it. How not only do the wrestlers themselves, but the fans treat it like a sport and it's more serious. And I feel like that is something that I hold dear to myself and that I dearly respect. So when I watch a Japanese match, or like a match from Japan, and they go out there and almost kill themselves, tell this awesome story, physical, back and forth, blood on the line. I respect that personally, and like I can respect that these men are out there giving their all for art and for a story, and the fans respect that. And it's just wholesome, and that's really captivating.
It must be incredibly exciting for you then to see New Japan coming over to Australia now.
It is. It's something like this because like it's just hard to kind of fathom from like a year ago that something like this would happen. So it's kind of like you still got to pinch yourself a little that not only do we have an Australian in Bullet Club, which first of all, Juicy, that's amazing. That's groundbreaking for Australia. That's awesome. Not only do we have the Bullet Club coming to shows like PWA next Friday, Paramount RSL, or MCW, that's amazing. But now we have actual New Japan coming out for a tour. Not just one or two people for one event, one off. They're bringing in a whole roster of guys coming in, doing 4 nights. They're really invested, and it just shows that there's something in like the Australian market. So for people like myself and for others who have mainstays who have been here for years, we're all incredibly excited because we're all massive fans of it. Like we all watched Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep.
Exactly. Like we all lost our damn minds, and to have those people like Okada and Tanahashi, and I was going to say Liger, he wasn't on the poster, but even like the Young Bucks, Cody, all these guys coming out. It was just mental. and I'm going to try and real hard not to fangirl, but I will, 100%.
And I understand, and New Japan's doing a tryout next week as well. Are you taking part in that?
I am indeed taking part in that. That's hosted by PWA Nui Pro. That's before the Parramatta show, for Lock, Stock and Two Sweet Barrels. They have quite a few lads doing it, and I tell you, like, if they were to like pick one person, like, I don't think they could. Just because the standard that like PWA and Nui Pro training, that the standard that they train their trainees, myself and everyone that you see here, I honestly think it's world class, and they train us not only to take some New Japan trial, but they train us just to withstand anything that any wrestling sort of organization or style or place can throw at us, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So I am incredibly keen, confident in my abilities and everyone's abilities to do the tryout. It's just going to be a really good environment.
Yeah, so obviously the training, you feel pretty prepared for it.
Do feel prepared. I mean, lately Robbie Eagles has stepped it up. Robbie, Mick Meridian, Madison Eagles, they have stepped it up quite a bit. But it's not too much different from what we usually do. They're very focused and make sure that the wrestlers that they bring out of the Pro Wrestling Academy can go. And that's what they pride themselves on.
And another big thing for you this year is Guerrilla Press.
Oh, thank you very much. Big exciting news for myself, especially because I'm a big fan of like sort of animations and sort of like homegrown or local sort of designs and art. Like I'm a massive shop addict on Redbubble, where people who post the community artists. So this is Guerrilla Press is an organization started up by a local design artist in Newcastle and a fellow wrestler. And they just came together and they just wanted a brand or just a way that they can sort of influence sort of the sort of norms of wrestling merchandise. So they want to merchandise stuff for the wrestlers while also broadening out to other sort of markets like TV, movies, media, music, a whole range of things. The gentleman who designs Guerrilla Press and created it, he's also a tattoo artist. So he wants to break out into all these little aspects, and it's very much focused on local wrestlers and like benefiting the local artists. So the local artists, wrestlers have come together just to create Guerrilla Press, and it's kind of like this happy union, happy partnership between a group of wrestlers and some designers, all putting out there trying to make some cool stuff.
So it's sort of making merchandise that's cool for everybody, not
cool
just the wrestling fan.
Yeah, cool for everybody. I mean, like, there are some out there, well, I won't name names, some designs out there that are very wrestling focused, and
Yeah, I know exactly.
and like, you can't break out from that. And like, the wrestling I like is very animated, very over the top, very cartoonish, and, you know, one that can like reach out to so many different kinds of people. My classic example is like Chikara. Chikara can reach out to a whole range of people, not even just wrestling fans. And that's why I reckon it's amazing. And that's what I feel the same about Guerrilla Press. It can reach out to so many different fans, not just wrestling, but a whole range. And I'm actually starting to be really passionate about it. So first little project I've been involved with, and I'm happy this one's the first one.
Last year was a huge year for Australian wrestling. This year's already looking pretty big with some of the tours that are coming out.
Wow.
Who would be some of the dream opponents if we kept getting international?
Okay. I have two. My first dream opponent would be Joey Ryan. It would be Joey Ryan because I absolutely just respect the King of Dong style. Not just for his amazing U-pornplex, but he's just managed to kind of just keep up with the times and just sort of not so much reinvent, but just innovate, you know, his own style. And I just find it really cool, and I just dig the sleaze. The second person, and I didn't see him on the poster for New Japan, would be Toriyano. the Victoriana, the Sublime Master Thief. I would absolutely adore taking a low blow and a roll up from that man. I reckon just the comedy and comedic timing that gentleman has, bar none. And on top of that, also Kikutara.
Yep.
Definitely Kikutara.
Yeah, I could see some fun matches in all
I
three of those.
Oh man, dreams. Long home.
And lastly, where do you sort of see yourself headed in the next few years?
For myself, it's going to be a tough question. Sure thing, I would like to say overseas. Sure, I'd like to say in Japan or in the UK or Europe, America. I would love to say that. But a big part of me wants to stay in Australia and just see this grow from here to exponential heights. Because where it was 10 years ago to where it is now is chalk and cheese. It's night and day. It has improved thousandfold. And I feel like we are hitting the tip of the iceberg of what is going to be quite a big boom. And I do not want to leave that. So I want to be known as someone in that generation who's kind of brought it up and helped it and sort of been there. Because in wrestling now, there are these wrestlers who are sort of upper echelon, who are mainstays and people we look up to in wrestling. Myself personally, it's Robbie Eagles, Mick Moretti, Madison Eagles, and you have people in Melbourne and Queensland, South Australia, and Perth. So few people who are top of the field. I want to be in 15 years, I want to be in that same regard. And I don't think I can be there by leaving. I want to be there and sort of stay and watch the local scene explode. So where I see myself in the future is riding the wave of Australian wrestling and just seeing it go to exponential heights. And I foresee that happening.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you, J.A.M.
And if you enjoyed this interview, please head on over to jmuxmedia.com so that I can continue to bring you more interviews in the future. Thanks.